Hello, this is April Winfield presenting a team building activity for St. Luke's Medical Center. This information is designed to be used as a strategy to engage your employees and promote teamwork within the department. A few physical preparations that you will want to take before presenting this material are as follows. Because there's a PowerPoint presentation involved, you will want to ensure that the space or room that you are using will accommodate the use of a laptop or another electronic device that you decide to use. In addition, you will want to make sure that the monitor screen is large enough so that your audience will be able to see and read the information clearly. Also, you will want to ensure that the space is large or roomy enough to accommodate your expected group size and to allow plenty of room for the group skits. You may also want to consider having at least 1 or 2 tables available to be used for the skits. Lastly, you will want to predetermine what items you want to fill your grab bags with. These items can be random or they can be logical items that you decide to use. For example, you may want to use a Kleenex box that one could use as a keyboard or as a computer monitor. Or you may want to go a little further and use something like a paper clip or a rubber band that could be used in a creative way to demonstrate another item that your staff will use day to day in the department. Once you have taken the necessary steps to ensure that your physical environment will be satisfactory for your presentation, next you will want to focus on your greeting. You may want to take a couple of steps to ensure that your staff feel warm and loosened up and ready to engage one another and you as well. Make sure that your PowerPoint is open and already available for viewing to give your staff visual cues as far as what direction your presentation is going in. Also, you may find it helpful to introduce yourself or greet your staff as they arrived. Oftentimes, this strategy will help your staff feel more relaxed and more receptive and less tense in the workplace. In addition, you may want to make small talk or have them sign in for a small drawing. And ideally, if you decide to do the small drawing, the prizes should be something small, like maybe a $5 gift card or something similar along those lines. Lastly, you may also want to consider having a small basket of candy or another treat available for the staff to kind of snack on and just to help lighten the atmosphere a little bit. And hopefully your staff will be more engaging if they are more relaxed. After you have greeted your staff and taken whatever precautions you decide you're going to take to help get them mentally prepared to engage and interact with you, next you will want to move into the introduction to your training. If necessary, you will want to introduce yourself to your staff. Also, you will want to be sure that you state your name as well as the focus of the training. For example, you could say, "Welcome to the 2016 team building training for the HIM department." Also, make sure that you state to your staff very early on that this training will involve some small discussion, some Q&A, and some hands-on tasks. Do take note that it is important for you to establish early on that you are expecting feedback and response from the staff, because much of the training will be based on the feedback that you receive. Next, we'll be presenting the training. As you present your training, you will find it helpful to use slide number 2 as a guide to discuss the elements of teamwork and their importance in the workplace. You could use the following for an example. You could state the elements and ask the staff what the elements mean to them. For example, you may want to ask, what does commitment mean, and can you give us an example of how it is or could be used in the workplace? You then could repeat this same technique or a similar technique for the remaining 5 elements. You will want to stress to your staff the importance of these elements when they relate to teamwork. If at any point you find that your staff are not as giving concerning feedback as you would hope they are, you should attempt to guide and encourage them by broadening the scope to include how these elements are incorporated beyond the workplace. For example, you could discuss commitment, and maybe your staff can't quite figure out how commitment applies to teamwork in the workplace. However, if you broaden that, how commitment could be an important element of teamwork in their home or in their children's school, your staff may be able to make that connection a little easier. Do note, if you are using this strategy, be sure to always connect examples back to the workplace. As you progress into slide number 3, you will want to rely on previous dialogue to discuss teamwork and how it is used in various aspects. Be sure to ask open-ended questions to engage your staff. For example, you could ask how individuals use teamwork in and outside of the workplace. Examples are provided within the slide for you. Try to make connections with your staff that will allow them to relate the elements and the importance of teamwork between work, home, school, their community, and any other areas where teamwork is important. Again, as stated previously, if you find that staff are having a difficult time giving you enough feedback, you should attempt to guide and encourage them by broadening the scope to include how these elements are incorporated beyond the workplace. Be sure to always connect examples back to the workplace if you use this strategy. Using the material in slide 4 and previous dialogue, discuss what some of the advantages of teamwork are. Again, ask open-ended questions. For example, ask staff to share success stories related to teamwork. Discuss the points listed on the slide and provide brief examples, or ask the staff to provide brief examples. Be sure to have some in-depth discussion about the advantages of teamwork so that you can get your staff to really think about why they need each other in order to complete the job task within the department. Again, if necessary, broaden the scope to include how the advantages of teamwork apply beyond the workplace. And always be sure to connect examples back to the workplace. Using slide number 5 and any previous dialogue as it is appropriate as a guide, discuss what some of the challenges or disadvantages of teamwork are or could be. You will want to ask open-ended questions that will leave your staff with an opportunity to truly express to you what maybe some of their frustrations are or what maybe some of their challenges are concerning working together as a team. For example, you may want to ask your staff to share examples of unsuccessful events and ask your staff to identify what, if any, elements of teamwork from slide 2 were missing and to identify what could have been done differently to increase the chances of success. Also, discuss the points listed on the slide and provide brief examples or ask your staff to provide brief examples. Again, if necessary, broaden the scope to include how the disadvantages of teamwork may be appropriate beyond the workplace, but be sure to connect the examples back to the workplace. Using slide number 6 and any previous dialogue as appropriate as a guide, you will want to spend some time discussing what some of the options are for overcoming and resolving conflict and or disadvantages within a team. Unfortunately, we know there are challenges to working on a team, but the goal is to get the department to overcome those challenges so that they will be more willing and apt to work together as a team. Don't be afraid to ask open-ended questions. Ask your staff to share methods they have used to overcome obstacles encountered while working with the team. Discuss the points listed on the slide and provide brief examples or ask your staff to provide brief examples. Also, ask your staff if they can provide examples to add on to the list which has been provided for you. If you find that your staff is unable to provide you with sufficient feedback, again, broaden the scope, but be sure to connect it back to the workplace. Lastly, you'll want to correlate the material. Utilize the information that you got from the staff. Utilize their examples, some of the information within the PowerPoint, and remind the staff of the departmental goals and clearly state your objective in utilizing teamwork to accomplish these goals. For example, you could say, our goal is to ensure sufficient processing of medical records. And then you could state what element or elements of teamwork are necessary to accomplish that. This will be a good time and a good method for you to remind your staff of departmental goals as well as remind them of how critical it is that teamwork is at the essence of their job performance and the day-to-day tasks that they are expected to complete. At the end of the PowerPoint slideshow, give the staff the opportunity to ask questions and to give you comments or feedback. If there are questions, Staff should always have the opportunity to ask those questions. However, use discretion and professional judgment in the event inappropriate questions are brought forth or you sense that they have the potential to be brought forth. In such cases, it may be necessary to set aside time for the staff to have their questions addressed later on personally. Lastly, once you have completed using the PowerPoint and you have completed your discussion, let your staff know that now it is time for them to participate in a hands-on activity that should be fun and engaging. At this point, you will want to reference the instructions for your grab baskets, which are attached.